You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shemaiah Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shemaiah Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and we have another amazing show lined for y'all today. Man, I know you guys are in a good mood because at the time we're recording this, it's almost Valentine's. So if you don't have a Valentine, hear from us. Happy Valentine's to you and yours. Hope you're having a good time, because by the time this airs, you're probably going to be busy anyway because, Valentine's weekend, pick it up on Monday. We get it. So first and foremost, I just want to welcome to our show today, David Homan. He is the founder of Orchestrated Connecting. He is not just building something special. It's a global movement that's built on trust, relationship value, and purposeful community. I want to know about his story because this guy, man, he's doing some pretty amazing, exciting things. He's a classical composer, an author, and what many will call connector of connectors. So I want to cut to the chase and say, first and foremost, David, thank you for clearing your calendar to talk to us today. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Really appreciate you having me here.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to what you do, kind of rewind the clock a little bit and tell our audience, when people hear superconnector, they think about strategy. But what does David think? And also on that, what is that mission behind that?
Well, I'll say some people think strategy. Some people think, what does this guy do for a living? It makes no sense. Other people think, can you get me to? And then they name like the Pope or the Dalai Lama because they think if you're connected, you have trust with everyone. Yeah. For me, there's a sacred way to build relationships. There's one way to do it. That's to be curious, to be vulnerable, and to get outside your comfort zone in order to build opportunities for others first. It's the way. It's what my methodology is, what my book is, the whole community I run. It's all based on this idea that the power of the intro is the thing that will change your life. You got to be ready for it. You got to be really ready for what happens from it. But very little happens in this world without somebody believing in you and putting you in front of the right person at the right time.
And speaking of trust, that's a great word to zoom in on, because how often has that been something that is not just delicate, but once it's gone, it's gone. So when you think of building relationships and building trust, what is maybe a life experience that taught you how fragile trust is and also can be the real currency?
I once made an intro to this guy, and very well intentioned. He opted in, meaning he agreed to it. The other person that he was connecting with also agreed. And then 2 years later, he called me up and he started screaming at me. And I had a lot of respect for this guy, what he does in the mental health space in particular. And he couldn't believe what I did. I got him to calm down. I tried to dissect it. Turns out that somebody I had introduced him to, he built a relationship with, had introduced him to somebody else. And that person had betrayed his trust, had told him he was going to invest money with them, things that were really not the way I would operate. But this guy went back and he actually blamed me for somebody I did not know that came from somebody I did know that he agreed to meet. So this might be a little convoluted, but he cut off his relationship with me, not just the person I introduced him to, for something I couldn't have predicted and wouldn't have known. So trust is incredibly fragile. It's hard to build, easy to lose, and even easier to not understand the value of until you've lost it.
When you think about history, we hear the saying, life happens fast, we grow up super fast. Is there anything from childhood that kind of sticks out to you when it comes to building relationships and trust? And if there is a story, can you share that with our audience?
Yeah, I got a sixth grader and a third grader right now, and their whole world are their friends around them. And I'm thinking, I'm in touch with 3 people from birth through 20 years old in my life. So everyone around you that you build a relationship with when you're younger, you often evolve from, good or bad. You can devolve as well. So I have very few people who understood me when I was younger because I didn't understand myself. So I didn't fit in anywhere. I wasn't part of the jock crowd, the theater crowd, the music crowd, definitely not the math or science crowd, which is what my third grader loves. But I wasn't part of any of that, and I didn't fit in. And I only felt I really fit in somewhere when I built my own community of connectors 11 years ago.
Once again, let's be Refocused Radio and watching us online, talking to our amazing guest today, David Homan. And if you are sleeping underneath the rock, go to iamrefocusedradio.com, go to YouTube, Refocused Network, and hit that subscribe button. Share this homework assignment with one person. That's it. I don't ask you to do 10 people. I know that's crazy. I know that can be spammy, but just one person. Share this episode, help out David and what he's doing, because my next question is all about when you started building your whole platform, when you started Orchestrated Connecting. Kind of tell us what was the vision behind this project, and why did you think it was so important for you to carry it through?
So I did not think I would start a movement. I didn't think I'd end up with a book, with the startup, with the global network. I thought, let me solve the problem of connecting the people I trust the most to each other. Maybe I'll build a tighter circle that more can happen from. Instead, it has consistently expanded from a 40-person event to over 200 events and a network of over 2,500 and counting. So the thing just keeps going. It happens because I do things a very particular way, and it is mostly the opposite of how people experience events, community, and engagement. If you don't adhere to the rules, I kick you out. If you don't show up on time, you don't get an invite back. If you were somebody of the integrity I would leave my children with, then you can ask me anything at any time. I not only expect the same thing of you, I expect the same thing if you decide to for anyone else in the network I or somebody else asks you to. So I set up a whole system, not thinking it was a system, but what it has become is a phenomenal study in how to build trust, how to build powerful community, and what happens when people with access are the ones everyone wants to access, as opposed to the people everyone wants to work through for that shiny object on the other side.
And for our viewers, our listeners, we live in a digitally dominated world. I mean, everyone's connected online. Everyone is scrolling. I have to admit, even when I don't want to scroll, it's hard. I mean, you're connected with friends and family, and you want to see what so-and-so's doing on their vacation, or someone just posted a celebration. So it's hard to get away from the digital world. Yet, people feel more isolated more than ever. What are some of the things that you feel that we are getting wrong when it comes to connecting?
Biggest one, when somebody's curious about you, be curious back. It seems simple, but think how many conversations you've wasted your time while somebody just told you their life story, then walked away as if you asked for it. Number two, and this one's just as important, these are the two primary soft skills. It's strategic, it's valuable to be vulnerable. Not to share everything about your life, but not to pretend your life is perfect the way people keep doom scrolling down towards. No one's life is perfect. I lost my dad last year. I told a whole bunch of people as I was meeting them, and people who I would have thought were insensitive, opportunistic, started crying. They told me what happened to their mom, and we built a bond in a few minutes that would have taken years, because I had the audacity to say it really sucks to have an older parent, and mine's in the middle of passing.
Wow. Man, I had to take a break and pause on that, because what you just said is people are human.
Oh, yeah.
It don't matter how big you are. It don't matter how much income you're making. It doesn't matter how important you might think you are and what you're doing with your career. Life will humble you super fast.
And if you don't take that life and share what you're experiencing with somebody else, the opportunities you will miss, you will never know. But if you simply embrace it, you'll feel more heard, you'll feel less lonely, You won't need that social media or the likes or the followers or any of the metrics, because you will have been heard by somebody whom you heard as well. There's nothing more sacred, and it's what we all crave. We're just afraid to do it and for somebody to say no.
When you think about healing inside communities, what, based on what you've been able to see with what you're building with your own community, what are some of the things that you're starting to notice right now that looks like there could be some hope, that people can be human, people can actually appreciate each other without having hidden agendas? What's some of the things that you're seeing that kind of makes you say, you know what, that's good right there?
So hopeful, this concern AI will take over our lives. It might automate a lot. It might augment some. It's not going to take over building trust. Yeah. It is not going to give us a community because we thought social media would do that. It has ruined community at the same time as it has also helped scale it and launch movements. Community is going to continue to be built based on person to person and the connectors and the trust makers. And the hope I have, every conference I've been invited to this year to speak or attend, everyone uniquely came up with this theme, the power of community. It is endless because we did not solve that problem coming out of COVID. We created a worse one by acting on our isolation, our fear, our tribalism, and not embracing what we should have, which was a shared collective experience that made the world all really scary.
There's a lot that happens when we're watching TV. I mean, back in the day, I remember it was just, 15, 17 channels, maybe 49, I don't know. But now it's like, it's endless. There's nothing but opportunity for you to watch a movie or a TV show. What I'm getting at is, there's a lot of distractions out there. It's not a lot of people living in the moment, but just living for the next high.
And you think about, right? You think about that time you went to your friend's event, your party, birthday, whatever it might be, somebody's book club, and you sat with somebody who asked you even 3 questions about yourself. That's more than you will get in a week often. And people will wonder, well, why can't that happen to me? And I turn back around and say, it won't. But why don't you go do that for somebody else and then see how you feel? That is just as addictive as the doom scrolling. It just is harder because it takes a lot to put yourself out there and not have a screen or technology in the way.
Let's talk about relationship, value, and trust. How do you redefine what makes a relationship meaningful? Because a lot of times we, like you said moments ago, we pay attention to how many people follow us, how many subscribers we have, how much. It's all this metrics that we are unfortunately addicted to. But when you break it down, how do you redefine what makes relationships meaningful?
Did somebody take an action on your behalf when you were courageous enough to ask them for that help? Nothing else matters. My friend needs something, I send it that. My friend needs an introduction, I make it. Somebody calls me up and says it's really important that you're here, I show up. Action is what matters. Everything else is platitudes.
That's so good, man. I'm gonna make a mental note to make sure I listen to this episode again, because where he's speaking right now, he's speaking some bars right now. Once again, we're talking to our special guest today, David Homan. Before we go any further, for those who are listening on radio or watching online, what's the best website that they can go to check out everything you're doing, all the resources that you have?
So the absolute best is what my community's website is, which is orchestratedconnecting.com. There you have videos, articles, links to my book, information on my startup, my conferences, everything that I do. But the most important thing you have is the video I did on my homepage, which is me as a composer playing piano and talking about the power of community and showing people what a really, truly purposeful community feels like. If we all had that, we wouldn't have so much of the epidemic of loneliness and hatred and everything we still face every day.
And I have to talk about music, man, because I love music myself. I want you to put the music hat on, all right? Because all this is connected. All this, I like to say, comes full circle. When you think about sound, when you think about music, when you think about what you do and the creativity that you put into the world, what is it about composing music, being able to express yourself, being able to show off your creativity? What makes that so special?
So imagine if you, anyone listening, could create something. It doesn't have to be music. It could be a poem. It could be a play. It could be a painting. Imagine if you created something that stopped time for somebody else, sent them inwards, and when they came out, they had nothing to say because they were still in that moment you brought them to. That is what finding the resonance in writing a piece of music is. It's the same feeling you have when you leave an event and you were heard. It's the same feeling you have when you get celebrated for something you deserve. It takes a listener and it takes a creator to make it work. It's not a solo journey.
I'll never forget, you talk about journey, I'll never forget, I had an instructor back in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he was talking about jazz, the genre, and he said, in jazz, there's a call and response. Mm-hmm. So when the instruments are playing certain thing, there's a certain melody that's going, but it's a call, and then other instruments respond. And I was like, man, this is so good, because when you think about relationships and building trust, it's a call and response, and how you're putting that part out there to begin with, man to mirror, if I should say, that determines a lot.
It determines a lot to go deep into jazz, because I did play jazz piano growing up and through college. When you are at the height of as a jazz musician, when somebody does that call, their solo, their piece, they're not just playing something written. They are playing their interpretation of the shared language you have. And the best people emulate, they copy that language and they add to it, which is why there's no such thing as a specific scale in jazz. Everything is a variation of what notes make sense that might sound wrong in classical music or pop music, but in jazz, make it what it is. There's so much in the emotion of how people connect with each other, the language, the resonance, the harmony, all of it goes down to this one concept, which is when you are actually on somebody's wavelength, that wavelength gets bigger with the two of you.
Yes. And tying that back to what we are talking about with relationship and relationship value, for those who are watching it and maybe they love listening to music, but maybe they're not into making music or producing music or composing music, how can those creators, entrepreneurs, and leaders build trust without feeling transactional?
If somebody feels truly heard and there's no agenda behind it, and you build enough trust through curiosity and vulnerability to get them to say, here's what I need. If you take action or try to, based on what that person who is starting to trust you needs, you build trust. The intent of it or the success of it is what matters. Everything else is what we get told every day. I'll call you back. I'll send in your resume for that job. I'll get to this thing on time, and then we don't. And the person who does is the person who succeeds more. The person who does is the person somebody remembers when they are not there, and then gets that call going, you know what? There's this podcast you should be on. You should show up here, and then you get the job. To be memorable is to act with trust, and then for people to honor that.
When I hear you talk, I can't help but think, what my dad always pushed, and that is accountability. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter the colorful things we say, the amazing words we say, the amazing ideas we have. You talk about multiple times to, be on time, caring about the moment so much that you are being accountable and present in the moment, knowing that this window of opportunity may never, ever, ever come back.
That is it, right? Sorry to interject, but this is so important to make clear. I think, having studied this now for 15 years, we get 4 to 5 of those real moments in our life. And if we are not ready, we have not made ourselves accountable, we've not built community and trust, we don't even know we missed them. And we sit here wondering why our life didn't go the way we wanted it to, not the way we acted upon it to become, the way we wanted it to, just in thought. And people don't seem to get that there's no handouts, that you could be born into privilege and ruin your opportunity. You could be born into nothing and make the most of it. You have to do the self-work to be ready for the moment, and you have to build community to give you that moment.
I appreciate you jumping in, because that was that moment of opportunity. I appreciate you doing that. When you look at what you're building, I can tell you're passionate about it. I can tell you care deeply about it, because the thing is, I just had this conversation with a coach earlier today, basketball coach. I was like, you can tell when someone likes doing what they do, because you couldn't pay them to do it. And that isn't cliche, it's truth. There are people who are meant to do what they do. And when you have go ahead.
Everyone who's great, right? You look at Kobe, you look at LeBron, you look at Jordan. Why do they all start practice hours before everyone else? They love it, which means they're able to take natural talent. But all of the greats put more work in than anyone else. There are no exceptions in anything to that. And the love of it, with the desire to excel in it, and often the desire for that greatness to affect others, that is what made it work. Jackie Robinson could not make a mistake as a player. He had to be perfect and the best to break the color barrier. And he was. We all need that, and it takes that passion to align with the purpose. But behind every one of those people are the people who believe in them, who champion them, who advocate for them, and that doesn't happen by accident. It might be a little bit wishy-washy, but really the best way to do it is to transform it into something intentional and purposeful.
You said the words right out of my mouth. It's like you went in my brain, you took that off the shelf, and you threw it in the world, because purpose is exactly what I was about to go towards, and you met me there. And I want to zoom in on that, because I believe in all this time I've been doing the show since 2017 at a barbershop. I had a friend who said, you are from the barbershop to the top. And I will never forget that, because I said it. The person said it to me. And purpose is what got me here. Purpose is what got you to what you're doing. Purpose is the super glue that keeps us grounded. Without purpose, it's almost like we are just doing anything randomly and wondering why it sucks.
Yeah. And people without purpose try to drag us down who have it. And once you understand they are jealous that they cannot do what we are willing to put the work into, those are people who lead lives of quiet desperation or rage against the dying of the night. Those that go from the barbershop to the top take a skill that is an incredible skill, which is the art of conversation, and turn it into what you turned your career and everything into now, which is just beautiful.
I appreciate that. And well, I want to say, I can't believe we're literally 2 minutes away. I can't believe that. That's not fair. But that's what happens when it's a good conversation. You listen to Refocused Radio, watching us online, talking to our guest today, David Homan. I want you to take the last few minutes to just talk to our audience. What's the best thing that they can do to stay connected to you? And if there's any events or any books you want to plug in, go ahead and do your thing, man.
Absolutely. So my main website, orchestratedconnecting.com, has links to my book I co-wrote with my friend and author, Noah Askin. That book is Orchestrating Connection. I've now launched a tech startup in beta called SOAR CONNECT, building authentic relationships at trust, at scale. Everything that I do, I put out there, from interviews and writings. My events are private, but if you are a connector and you believe you're somebody that I should leave my kids with, reach out. That's the rule. But everything I've done has been this very unprofound strategy, which is how do I get out of the way for the right people to meet each other? And if we all took that same stance of listening to somebody and getting out of the way for them to meet somebody who we also value, that is how you build community. It's how you create opportunity for others. It does take time, 2 to 5 years to come back to you. It is not karma. It is not instant. But if you feel good doing something, helping other people do good, then at some point you are talked about when you are not in the room, and that is where all success comes from.
If y'all got one thing from this conversation, remember what he just said. If you don't know, then just rewind, scroll back, and press play. I'm not even going to tell you what you say. You got to do it yourself. Take that action and do that yourself. But first and foremost, I want to say to David, not just thank you for what you share with our audience. Connection is something that, if done right, it will last beyond you. If done wrong, then it stops then and there. So if you can get anything from this conversation, when you connect with people and with things, keep one thing in mind. How is this going to make an impact? And when you answer that question, you then can make that next move. If you can't answer that question, then maybe you should question what's your purpose. Because your purpose is going to hover over you and it's going to be asking you, what the heck you doing? Because we are running against a clock, and this clock ain't going to be on forever. One day, we're going to have this last show, and until that day comes, I have to stay in my purpose. I do what I do. My passion is no one can beat me at this passion because I can talk for 40 days and 40 nights. I won't even get tired. If anything, I'll get more energy. And that is something that you experience when you have your passion, your dream, then you're in the right dream. You're in the right purpose. You're in the right line. But if you feel like you burnt out, you tired, you should ask yourself, what's my purpose? Because I can get tired easily, but no one's going to beat me. You know why? Because I can do this and I get paid. I can do this. It's my passion. I do interviews. It's not hard. It's so easy. Listen, it's the easiest thing. The reason why I'm quiet when I do my shows is because we got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Do the math. And with that, I want to say, David, man, I didn't mean to preach, but thank you for your time. And I'll give you last words. What thoughts you want to leave for our audience?
I got to tell you, with respect to what you said, those should be the last words. So if anyone did listen, I'll quote you. Rewind. I'm not going to tell everyone what you just said, but that was preaching to the choir in terms of why we should have purpose. So thank you for echoing the same and giving me the opportunity to share some of my views.
So with that, David, thank you for your time.